What so you were talking about how you go through your questions to like I love that part of building process solutions and solutions in general in it because it's like just having a really great conversation with someone who's smarter than you and you just keep asking why do you can everybody do that or is there a specific set of is there a person or a skill that you've noticed that makes some people better than others?
Do you ever hear that like you're really good at Google? Like for some reason, my wife always tells me like, "Why are you better at Google than me?" Right? And I feel like if people who have gotten good there are going to get really good at AI.
Mm,
And I think it's learning what those inputs, and I think engineer minds are great for this because we really think on that process level. And I'm looking for it to you got to be willing to ask it what's going to go wrong with this, what are the risks of doing this. And I would say not jumping to AI's right, let's roll with it. But I do like your comment of who's going to be good at it. I don't know. I'm very interested to see how my I have 3 kids and to see how they are able to embrace it. I would say they're still banking on dad to do a lot of that.
yeah,
But a couple weeks ago, I was editing a video for my son plays lacrosse, and he wanted me to take some videos of him for he wants to be recruited, and so we're working on that. And he's like,
sure.
okay, I'll take videos for you, bud. And I was kind of struggling. Video editing isn't my thing, and my son jumped in and he's like, Dad, you're taking forever. I'll fix it. And that was the first time that's ever happened. And I was like, "Oh." So he's like he's getting it, and he's going
Yeah.
into high school, and it's funny to see his mind working that way because 'cause they're gonna be killer at this. Our school district just asked me to look at their AI policy, and I'm
Mm,
really happy about that because they're not completely saying you can't use it. They're giving
yes.
the kids the opportunity, and that's what we need to do is train people to be good at AI.
So, so with the children aspect, I've been hearing a lot of news around like cognitive and deterioration. And do you have any thoughts around that?
Yeah, I would say, I'm very happy with the way our school district put it in place where they give the teacher has the ability to say you can use AI and you can't, and learning when to do that.
Mm,
I've taught some engineering classes over at Elizabethtown, and when I do that, there are times when I'm fine with them to use it. Right, we're talking about a problem in class, and they start prompting and getting answers. Great, but if we get to a test, and I really want to test their knowledge, and more, you can't give them a fact problem anymore. You have to give them
situation.
problems, right, that make them think through those situations. And by the way, I just give them paper and make them write it. So there's ways you can enforce that. You need to be creative, but yeah, we have to. You can't let them rely on it. And honestly, that's a problem for all of us. We all have to think about if we rely on it too much, that's a problem. On the flip side, I mean, how good are you at reading a map nowadays? Right? I mean, I'm going to use a GPS going everywhere. So there are times when you think about
It
what
just
these
fades away.
technologies have done. Yeah, yeah.
So I've never heard anyone talk about that problem with the solution of you just have to change the way you're testing their knowledge. So if I think about that versus when I was in school and now, if all of my tests were situational, those are always harder. We used to only get one or two of those on a test,
Yeah.
right? Because they're really difficult. So if you're saying now you can use the resources that are available, but I'm going to give you situational, that's life.
Yes, absolutely.
It's
You
no
know,
longer memorization.
no, and memorization doesn't get them anywhere, right? And so that's the one of the best parts because I'm an engineer and I love physics, right? And it wasn't I despised chemistry and biology because I felt like I just had to memorize everything,
Yes.
right? But with physics, I could understand it, I could figure it out on a test. And so I think for the engineering mind, that's awesome. And that's how we have to challenge them is
Mm.
give them those kind of problems. So my one of the things I would always do is one of my finals was I would say, "Hey, here's what you're building. Give me all the potential risk. That's all I want you to do is build that FMEA, right? That failure risk and that failure risk assessment so we can really look at what the potential problem is going to be. And I want you to find like 10 potential failures and just I want to see their thinking, right? And so that's interesting on the teacher side because it's not just thinking about how do you say it's not just thinking about I can look for this fact and know that they got it right. You have to evaluate are they thinking the way I want them to think? Kind of like I don't care what their answer is as long as they're giving me the direction I was expecting them to go.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna generalize that every approach is gonna be that way, but if the general consensus is we have to change our teaching to that approach, I think that will pay unbelievably exponential dividends back on future generations.
100%. Yeah. And I think it's a good opportunity. I, I would say we probably learned from the internet early, right? Like we're all that age, right? This happened soon enough that we learned that them telling us don't use the internet for research was not a viable answer at the time. Okay, and so now we recognize that, and I see at least our school district here, and I see the college doing that. So how do
Mm.
you continue to do that? I'm on the advisory board for engineering at Penn State, and that's something we really preached to the engineering uh, staff this year. Was you can't say no to this. You have to show them the use cases and the yes and no with this, right? And there's times for it, and there's times not for it, but you can't just turn it off.
Have you figured out any estimating solutions yet?
Yeah, I built a tool for a CNC shop as just a starting point. I can tell you, I don't love how it processes drawings,
Yeah,
and
I
so
heard
I
it's not
haven't
there yet.
seen a really, really good tool for that yet. There are specific tools out there for
Yeah.
processing drawings that I think are built for that, and I think that is a solution. What I've built is more around it has all our pricing in the background. Enter your times and enter those kind of things, and it's easy to update and enter your the cost of heat treat and how many parts can go together, all
Yeah.
those kind of things, and then we can come up with a price. I think that's a great starting point of using AI as an opportunity to do that. Where I see it interesting is more in the financial analysis. I think it
Mhm.
can be really strong there for sensitivities. And when I say that, I have a tool that does like a 13-week cash flow projection, right? But I've layered in, you can say, but run it again if my cost of goods goes up 5%, right? And so think about initially like doing these immediate like scenario checking. Think
What if
about that.
scenarios?
What if scenarios? Think about that with your scheduling tool, which this is
Yep.
where I really want to get to. Your customer calls and says, "Hey, can we pull that in by 2 weeks?" And your guy can be like, "Full job XYZ in by 2 weeks. What does that do to us?" And oh, we need 2 hours of overtime to make that happen. Great. Now you can tell the customer the price and get them an answer like that, make the adjustment and go. I think that is going to be a game changer in speeding up production and getting things layered in the right way.
Yeah, on the construction side of things, what's so fascinating about that to me that customers I could never get that across is one day moving something could affect 12 or 13 contractors, right?
Yeah.
But to be able to have the because running what if scenarios through an actual scheduling tool manually is painful.
Oh yeah. Terrible.
Like, it's
Terrible,
like
but
10,000 activities, and inside of there, not all of them are affected, but it'll affect the logic for all of them.
yeah.
And like, if you have to do 3 of them in a day, that is a really hard day to get through. So
Yeah.
if you could have that automatically done and then just say, "Do you wanna make the decision? This is
Yeah.
how much it's gonna cost you."
Yep.
Or you could have change order conversations at the same time you're having schedule conversations.
Exactly. Well, I'll tell you, so I built a proposal tool for my team, right? So we can, and all I did was I used a year's worth of my proposals. I have a pricing table and things like that. So while we're on the phone talking to a customer about doing a new ISO implementation, we got their price already, right? And so, imagine how quickly you can turn somebody into a customer before they get off the phone, they already know what it's going to cost. They're not waiting on a
Yeah,
proposal for a week, right? And so, you people don't go and look for 3 other quotes because they are comfortable with you, the
yeah.
price is in line and they move forward,
You
right?
don't
And
even
so
give them an opportunity to go do that. My problem with that is we're not a commodity base, we're a custom metal fabrication, so it's
okay.
so hard because I don't have this dashboard table behind everything that just says X equals this amount.
Yep.
And it's so when they come up with the drawings to bombs, I'm gonna be so pumped. Or just like because I've asked a couple AI people this, like, you remember the bar game at the corner that is this picture and this picture, find 12 different things, but they look the
Yeah.
same? I want that just for the return submittals, right? Because they're 400 pages long. The engineers don't tell you where they changed something, and you have to
Oh,
go through and comb that.
that's brilliant. So we did that in a similar way. I have a customer that does work for a defense contractor, and they get a purchase order once a week. And then
Mhm.
the next week they get their new purchase order, which is a revised version of the previous one, right? But it's like 400 line items, right?
Yes.
And so they have to go through each one. So we just built a PO comparison tool. We just bring in both of them, tell me by line what changed and what didn't. And now they don't have to go through that.
Can
And
you
so
do it with pictures?
I would love to test it. I would say it depends on the complexity of the picture.
Yes, that's what
But I would
everybody
test
keeps
it,
telling
right?
me.
Yeah. If I haven't had good luck with it messing with GD&T, right? I've tried to say, "Can you
Yep,
pull this in?" And then now, look, there's really good software out for some of that, right? When you look at doing that first article inspection and creating your first article report, we've started to use software called Discuss for that, right? That we can grab a print and it will literally bubble print it, right, and pull those dimensions down. And that's using some intelligence that exists. That's way better than what ChatGPT can deliver. It just doesn't. It's
yeah,
not there yet. And so I would say it's honestly hasn't been built for that purpose yet. At some point, somebody's going to build it with manufacturing in mind, but it's really been built for coders right now. So
yes. From what I've heard so far, there is a solution out there more for the wood industry or carpentry because their commodities and units are so similar. And so
yeah,
they can build the database behind that and it'll always be the same words on the drawings.
yeah,
Unfortunately, in steel, we don't do that. So it's all over the place. And they said like there's nothing to reference
yeah.
because the
Yep.
database would be so huge. But they said if they get to a point where it's not just reading language, it can read objects and pictures, then that's where you could plug in a DWG and roll with it
Yeah, that'll be. I mean, that's going to be the game changer right there. But
for
it's
everything.
interesting for everything. It'll be interesting to see what it does to prices because you're going to see competitive pricing in that market because people can crank out quotes really fast then, right? So that'll be interesting to see what that does to the whole market because it's going to be tough. You
Because
see
it'll
it
be
with CNC
volume.
world. Yeah, it'll be volume. You see it with the CNC world now. I mean, I see there's so many CNC. Great example, the laser guys, right? 10 years ago, 20 years ago, having a laser was a big deal. Now everybody's got one,
Yep.
right? So that is a super competitive market now.
Yep.
And so it's interesting to see how that has changed over the years and then the direction people are trying to go. More and more of our CNC customers are shooting for med device work or aerospace work because the dollars are still there, right? But if you're doing OEM work, I mean, they're pushing you so hard on price.
Mhm.
It's really hard.
What's going to be interesting is the non tangibles that proposals will need to stand out in the crowd of just the price. Because if we all get to that point, partnerships, relationships are going to reign supreme,
Mhm.
especially in our world, but we also do install. That'll be a competitive advantage. But then on the install side, do I have to babysit you? Do I not? What does
Yep.
that look like? How good are you running projects? How much can I rely on you? Because engineers are getting younger, project managers are getting younger in our customers' facilities and they just don't have that experience yet to run a huge project, usually like they're being handed.
Yeah, and I see it in machining and that defense world. That's a great example of the guys who are going to go through CMMC. You guys don't do any defense,
Mm-mm.
right? Okay, so there's some new cybersecurity requirements coming, and small manufacturers are really struggling because it's
Sure.
really expensive.
Yep.
The audit alone, look, an ISO audit's going to run you 5-10 grand,
Yep.
right? The CMMC audit is like $50,000.
Yep.
Okay, and when you're a $2-3 million shop, good luck, right? I mean, that's a good bit of your profit margin every year
Yep.
in CNC machining. So I see it as a big hurdle for those guys going forward, and that's exactly what's going to happen, right? Is those kind of things are going to hurt the small guys. So
Mm.
they're going to have to find alternatives. And I see the guys who are embracing it and who are willing to go out and spend that money. They're going to get a lot of work, right? And look, there's not enough defense contractors around right now, right? I
It's
mean,
very true.
when you look at you were at the Manufacturers Association yesterday, you said, right? And I mean, they got $6 million from the Navy for a reason, right? This area is the biggest supplier of the subparts.
I saw that. I saw that huge submarine situation going on, and it'll
Yeah.
be interesting to see how they'll start asking locals who aren't in that world, and being like, hey, we need help. Would you be interested? This is what you need. Is this something you'd want to take on?
Well, so you guys would be well positioned because of your ISO 9001 cert. That's where you're getting into the aerospace. The AS9100 is good, but it's that IT systems requirement, right? So the cybersecurity stuff gets pretty tight where you're probably going to have dollars, maybe more, just in the implementation, and then at least another 50 for the audit.
Yep.
And so when you're a small guy, it's hard to see that you can afford that and make it happen.
Yeah, actually, that's so interesting because one of my Vistage members, he runs a cybersecurity for government contracts specifically. So I hear this language now. I'm comfortable with it because I've heard him
Yep.
talk for 3 or 4 years, and it's just something we haven't dealt with, but mostly because we haven't gotten into that. But with some of these huge contracts coming into the area, it's interesting.
Yeah, I would say we get asked a lot about that. I'm not an IT security guy. We're really quality and process and systems
Yep.
focused. And so we really have great partners that we refer to, and there's a pretty good network for it. I'm a little concerned on the funding side that I think
Mm.
there could be some more funding for these small guys. If you want them to stay in, you need these manufacturers. That's an area that there could be
You
some.
can't run them out for sure. And whether that's like a grant or something from the state or from the
Yep.
government, that's going to need to be looked at. Maybe
Yeah, and can
a
we
revenue cap or something.
Yeah, when you pass the audit, you can get a reimbursement or something. I think that would be a great way to incentivize them to go through those things.
My mind hasn't stopped since we started talking. And I've gotten to one question. These are my favorite podcasts because it's just
That's
stuff I'm
great.
really passionate about. And I love talking. I mean, you know way more than I do. And just hearing the process and what people are doing and what people are getting into. It always surprises me how much people are still a little nervous about it.
Yeah.
But most of it's like you could go down a road, you'll try something and go, oh, I don't really like that. I'm like, just keep chipping away. So I'm so happy you said that you laid tile because I tell people this all the time. Like I am mechanically incompetent, but what's hilarious is my dad can literally build anything.
Yeah.
So I'm not good with the tape measure. I don't understand any of this world, but I now have the confidence, and I'll get super nerdy here, is to hang up my 4 lightsabers on my basement wall and I can do it and spread
Yep.
them out perfectly because I took a picture of the wall. I said how long it was because I did measure it. And I said, okay, what are the fractions? What does this mean? And then it told me how to spread it out, what anchors to use based on the weight of them. Like
Yeah.
it gives me so much confidence to try things that I would be so frustrated by.
Yeah, and so I'm using that, even in business. I've been marketing more now just because I'm able to
Let's
think
go.
through, right? Than I ever have. I'm writing articles, I'm posting weekly, I'm
Yep.
doing a monthly newsletter that I've never been able to do before. I'm generating so much more content because I have a partner to help me think through that. And hey, give me some ideas for this, or let's work through that and see how I can apply it to this customer. And boom, now I've got an article out of it.
Yes.
And so that's been really good for us. I can tell you we got a new customer in Wisconsin this year because they they asked ChatGPT to use and it said use us.
I was wondering, so my marketing team actually said, "Hey, we're prepping your website for LLM instead of SEO, like
Yeah.
or whatever it's called on the chat side so that we're pulled into that,
Yep.
manufacturers in the US that have this much space because we also have a virtual tour and it can go find that and read on the website, right? And all that kind of stuff." So it's
Well, I think you're probably positioned pretty well because you're generating content. For
all
right
the
now,
time.
right? It's not pay to play right now.
No,
Right now, right? I mean, that's gonna come. But
unfortunately.
for right now, it's not pay to play, and so they will be able to find you if you're a content creator. And I spent a lot of years writing blogs, right? I wrote a
Mm.
lot of blogs for the Business Journal. And I've just hosted them and posted them. And sometimes too, like, why am I even doing this, right? But I just felt like I needed to get it out, and now I'm so glad that I did it
Yeah,
because
you
I
got
can
a library.
yeah, exactly, and I'm able to refer to that and say, and so it's finding them and pulling data out. You kind of get mad at Google because when you think about it, if somebody asks a question and the answer is on your website, they're just telling people, right? It's in that summary at the top, and they never drive to your website. So it'll be interesting to see how they have to shift in this because I'm sure as heck not going to spend as much on Google ads as, I don't need to be the top of Google now. I need to be the first name it comes up with when they ask, who's the expert in this.
I love that you said marketing. I think so. I wouldn't be able to be into half the shit I'm in without AI. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to be honest here. I haven't written an actual podcast question since I started this thing
Oh,
because of my
absolutely.
process allows me to put in the data that I
Yep.
need to go make engaging questions. Just like when I do YouTube videos, I don't write scripts anymore.
Yeah.
I talk about what I'm going through, what like I do a lot of our vacation travel trips, and then I review the places we go, and I'll say these are all my highlights from my trip. It's what I liked, what I didn't like, and then I want it to be this engage. This is my engagement. I give it all my analytics from my channel. It knows the age range it's going after. It tells me what music to use because of
Yeah.
the age range. How to Dude, you know what? I didn't even realize it said most of your audience is going to watch on a television because of their age range. And I was
Oh,
like,
interesting.
they said, so don't zoom in and out. Don't get poppy. Don't do all the Mr. Beast stuff because your audience is going to want to feel the longer 5-second clips to be in that moment. And I was like, This is brilliant.
So I've started using I've been speaking a lot, and so I've been encouraged, "Hey, start recording them." And then I started using Opus,
Yep.
which is pretty strong
Yep.
because I'm not that good at video editing yet,
Hmm.
right? And so I drop it into Opus, and it helps me cut it up the way I want it to and put the words over it, and then it ranks those clips to say, "This is the one you should put up."
Yep.
And so that I would say that's been really helpful. And look, I now have a team that's helping coach me through this,
Yeah.
and having the sort of having the thought that you learn very quickly that you're not the expert in that, but you can become the expert. And so they've coached me through what cameras to use, what microphones to have, and things like
Hmm.
that. And then I can go execute and set things up, and so we're working through all that in ways that we've really been able to expand. And I would say over the next year, I will really see the fruits coming
Yep.
of that. Right, but that's all hustling, right? You're always
Dude, I post 5 days a week, man. I get it. But I'm 2 months ahead all the time. Like I just
yeah,
schedule all my posts out because some days you just don't have the time. But when you do, you post twice. Biggest thing for me, I don't think people realize on LinkedIn, I don't even do a good enough job at it, is responding to people's posts will get you probably faster engagement than posting your own stuff.
yeah, yeah. I think you're right, and I probably don't quite do enough of
Me
that.
neither.
Right, and it's a tough one. We really tried to use LinkedIn, um, probably primarily compared to Facebook or any of the other ones because it's just so right up our alley, and I can target the people that I really want to target, but it's expensive to market on, and
Yeah.
so I think you're way better off spending some time doing those kind of things and posting videos and posting original content. The videos have really driven a lot. The
Yep.
videos I get the most play on are anything to do with family, things that feel really real. So I would say like 2 years.
Storytelling.
Right. And so 2 years ago, I had to go to an event and I had to speak at it. It was for a group called Leadership York here. And somehow my daughter, who was like 3 or 4 at the time, just I didn't have anywhere for her. So she was gone with me. And so I'm up speaking and she decides she's got to be with dad. And so somebody snapped a picture of me and
Oh,
it's
it's
her
brilliant.
hanging on my leg as I'm talking. And I have to tell you, I've never gotten more hits.
Yeah.
Right, and so it's like, great, my daughter drives more traffic than I do,
Hey, man.
but, those kinda like that being trying to be real like that, I think is really strong. You do a
Yeah.
great job of that too, and so
Oh,
you
thank
can
you.
see, like, you bring that passion, and it's not I've learned I cannot read into the camera, right? I just can't, it just sounds too stale, so these kind of things where we just get to talk is way better.
So let me ask you a couple of things about speaking because I am fascinated about it. I want to get into it because I'm like a culture monster. I could talk about culture like forever.
Yeah.
And I have a weird feeling about culture and kind of how to get it there. And I saw, I don't know if you use the glasses that have the prompters in them that
No.
connect. So they connect to your phone and you can put your entire speech on there so you can have the highlight reel, just like
Oh,
a
that's
computer
cool.
prompter. And they're green. Nobody can see from the outside. They're actually only inside the lens. And I was like, well, if I have to do, like an hour's, it's a long time, especially it's my first one and it'd be a little scary. So I was like, maybe I'll just because apparently these glasses are used by you can see once you see them, you'll never unsee them on everyone who's doing huge speeches. So they're like all over TEDx's and stuff. So it's pretty
When
funny.
I do, like, the AI talk I've been giving, I get it so much that I wouldn't wanna read that one, because I
Yeah.
really have to read the room and get their kind of what is the room like before while I deliver that. You almost have to see how much are they nodding along, how scared do they look?
Yeah.
And so for that topic, I don't need it, right? I just did one, went about a half hour, right, give or take, and that's what they wanted to keep me to. People stayed for an hour afterwards and asked me questions.
Yep.
And that, so it's really the like topic for us that this one's really easy. I did a keynote last year up at Penn State and for the industrial engineering grads. And while I was there, like that one had me more nervous than going in front of
Yeah.
professionals and talking about AI because I really, it's just a different delivery.
Yep.
What really helped me was teaching. So I,
Mm.
taught these classes, so I'm in front of kids and I really got, you know, kind of more used to it
Yeah.
and felt a little better about my presentation there. And then doing as many of these. So if people ask me to do a podcast or do any, I will do them because I just want the reps.
Yes.
Right. So even if it's one I'm not sure it's like worth it, I'm gonna probably do it because I love getting the reps and I'm just getting better at it every time.
No, I think that is so brilliant. I actually love being on the other side of the mic as well because I think it's really good practice. This has made me so much better at listening all over the place. And I went into it I started doing this because I don't like going to mixers, I don't golf, I hate being out of my house when I'm not at work, so, like, this is my happy place right here, I
Yeah.
video game right there, and, so this allows me to stay relevant and also make real connections with people because it's hard to hide for an hour, you can kinda
Yep.
get to know people pretty well, and I have 80 hours that people, if they want to go work for
Mhm.
us, can go see what it's like to hear me, I'm the same person almost every episode, so, like, you get if you like it or you don't.
I think it gives people my team has been really encouraging of me diving into the AI thing, right? And because they see the potential for us and for the company, but also really appreciative that I'm trying to think in the future of where we're gonna go.
Mm,
And so by doing what you're doing, right, and showing people here's the path we're going, and here's what I'm thinking, and making sure they're kind of on the same page as you. I think that's really powerful. I agree on the mixer thing. Mine is I'm okay going to them, but I just don't have the time. I've got 3 kids, and no offense if it's go to a mixer tonight or hang out with my kids. I only get so many more years with them. And
yes.
so I want to do more. We're going to the Revs game tonight, right?
Nice.
And so those kind of things we really try to do. And so I have a team member that can go to more mixers than I can. And so, but I try to go when I can, but it's tough, right? So I do go to the big ones, but I can't make them all anymore.
Well, you're going and talking on them, so you don't have to go to
Well, I
that.
can go talk. Yeah, that's a different story. It's funny you mentioned I'm working on the wood products. They have a conference
Okay.
in Lancaster, and they asked me to do a keynote about AI. And so your comment about they have their own maybe tool that I'm going to go do some research. So I have something, but
Yeah,
I have a bunch of them scheduled for the fall because people have seen it, and now they just want somebody who's actually using it come to talk.
it's really good. Yeah, there's a lot of noise with it, and I think I love having AI people on here to talk about it because I literally turn around and just work with them because it's
Yeah,
like and then I'm giving like the first AI partner I had on here, I think I'd given him like 15 clients because I'm just like there's so like I get DMs every day about it. And it's
yeah,
I understand there's probably a ton of amazing partners out there, but at the same time, I want you to work. Like I asked almost all of them, like you can come on and talk about it if you're really passionate about it. And you'd be surprised about how many people that say no. And I'm like, well, then maybe you're not that passionate about it. Like,
I had a customer yesterday who we gave him a good quote for it, and they're like, "It's a little much." And I was like, "Look, understand, it's expensive." I said,
yeah.
"But when you look at the reality of where we're heading," and I ended up with like this really long email this morning about it, and I apologized. I said, "Sorry, I'm just really passionate about this, and I want you to be prepared because this is coming, whether you're going to invest or not. And when you think about the investment that you can make into AI of $5,000 or $10,000 here, it's pretty low compared to a robot, and everybody in your business can use it." And so I think it's an opportunity that there's going to be things that you have no idea about. And
Mm,
that question is, what's the ROI? We have no idea, but it's probably incalculable, right? And so let's think about that as more of a this is a really wide tool that your whole business can use, and that's where you can get people on, like get everybody using it and thinking about it versus that sort of top down. Here's our new software. Here's how we use it, guys. No, no, no. This is here's the software, guys. You tell us what you need, and we'll build it.
yeah, I don't understand the ROI question because it's literally hours times however many employees you have.
Thank you. Exactly.
I don't get it. Like it is that simple. It's you just take really task heavy things that irritate your team and wipe them away.
Yeah,
And then guess what? You go say, do this other thing that's more valuable.
I just took a scientist, and he was spending 2.5, 3 hours creating some documents after he made a project, and we've eliminated that. What do you think that time's worth? Every time he does that, that's probably 2 or 3 times a day. My
Another
word.
invention.
Yeah, and so it's really becomes a no-brainer, but you gotta get people so I've actually a lot of the sales we've done, I've had to build them that first tool to help prove the ROI, so leadership would be like, "Okay, we get it." Right? All right, all right. I'll build the first tool for you if that's gonna get you over the hump. But, that's not where it really should be coming from. And, some of them take a long time. I'll build a simple one for them, but once they
Sure.
see it, they're in.
No, yeah, I'm 1,000% with you. And I think part of it's just like even presenting some to my own team of like, hey, you don't have to do that anymore. Just put it in here. Like when we did
Yeah.
the contract review, like I did the first 11 to make sure it was
Oh, yeah.
getting what we needed. And then I handed it off to my sales team. And they're like, what do you mean we're doing it? I'm like, it'll take you a half an hour to 45 minutes to go through this. So yeah, they're good. Well,
Or they're not
one,
doing it, which is really scary, by the way.
well, a lot of our customers said there's a lot of red on here. And I said, it was actually way better than what we used to do.
Yeah.
But it had all of our same boilerplate stuff in there. It just said, it's black or white. You either want it or you don't. So the
Yep.
bot doesn't care. It's just telling you don't put it in there. So it was
Yep.
really funny. We had to actually scale it back a little bit because our customers were getting a little upset. We're already at an hour, so I don't want to take your time away. Where where can I find you? Where can I go talk to you and talk about future things? Where can everybody find you? Where do you like everybody to go to find you?
All right. So number one, look me up on LinkedIn. It's Adam Marsh at Ledge Inc. You can always go to ledgeinc.com. You'll see things about our quality services, our AI services. You can schedule meetings with us. We are more than happy to jump on, talk about use cases, and see if we can find one for your business that fits. So our team loves to do that. And we're spending time really helping manufacturers, whether that's on the quality side, helping them implement new systems so they can get new customers, helping them stay current with their system, or even being a fractional quality manager, all the way over to delivering them software solutions. So
Mm.
we're becoming this service provider where we look at systems and then find the solution for that system. That's where we're really getting good, is looking at operating systems and looking for those things we can tweak to make it better, faster, higher quality.
One last question. Have you seen the AR goggles in the quality world now that people can wear that the drawings are right in the eyeglasses and they overlay? Have you
Yeah. So, all right. So I'm working on some knowledge capture right now. Okay. And I have this kind of crazy idea that I want to build. And one of the things I was pushed about was, well, we could just put on these VR headsets on our production workers and we'll capture things that they're doing. And my first thought is the production workers I put that on are going to throw it in the trash can really fast.
Yep.
And so I'm really careful to see what direction are we heading with that. I think it's cool. I'm cautious on, is it more work than it's worth, right? And so that's actually a really interesting question, is we don't just want to use AI for the sake of AI. We got to see the real value coming out of it. And I haven't seen them, unless you're in an assembly situation,
Sure.
right? That you're doing high volumes. And I tend to work with customers that are lower volume. It's just like justifying a robot. It's really hard to spend the time to do all that for what you get out of it.
Yeah, I love that. So the conversation I had with the AI person last week, they were heading into like a meta conversation, and I bought a pair of Ray-Ban Metas because one, I take a lot of video and they have the cameras in them, and I wanted the translation portion. And I said to them, "Can you tell them in there to put safety glass in it with side shield so I
Oh,
can wear it in the shop? Because we are getting into spaces that I need to translate with some of our team members
yeah,
in the field or in the shop, and I want to feel like I know them. And then
yeah.
also, I can use the cameras in the face and not
Oh
have
my
to."
gosh, yeah.
And they
That's
were
re
like, "Wait, what do you want?" I said, "I just want safety glasses out of these things so I can actually use them in the shop because I got to put
yeah.
them on over my safety glasses and I can't say anything. It's annoying."
Oh, that's a nightmare. Yeah, that's that's a no. There's some really cool applications there, but I'm cautious on the big guys are going to be able to use them. The guys doing tons of assembly are going to be able to. So great, but how does that help the smaller guys? I'm always careful on what are we going to use that adds the value, and we
Yeah.
still need those people who are just kick butt in the shop, and how are we training them? So our focus has
Right.
been on that side more, and really working with guys like the Manufacturers Association, Mantech, to do that kind of training.
Yeah, that's sick. This was amazing. One, thanks for taking the time. I sorry for you had two podcasts back to back.
Oh, you're good. You're good. I'm always happy to. So if you ever want to do another one,
Yeah. Well, no, we'll have to get on a call because I want to pick your brain some more and then have you look at a couple of things. Because I'm actually, as I'm doing my Clueless CEO Chronicles, I'm capturing the process improvements that I'm seeing because that's just, I'm like you, my brain works that way. I'm like seeing annoying things. And so as I'm capturing those, I'm running into roadblocks of things I maybe want to solve. So I'll give you a ring and
that'd
we
be
can have a
great.
chat.
That'd
But
be great. Look, hey, we're all about seeing what those are, because it's going to be a whole industry coming with this. And if you got your head in the sand, you're in trouble 6 months from now, a year from now.
yeah, I agree. Well, Adam, thank you so much for spending an hour and 6 minutes. Hopefully, you have a good time at the baseball game tonight.
I
And
appreciate it.
yeah, man, we'll catch everybody on the next one. Thank you.